fishing, they're also scavengers, and they're bullies of the bird of prey world. So an osprey is another type of bird of prey that likes to fish, and he's a much more efficient fisher than this bald eagle is. And what these guys will do is they'll actually harass an osprey in the air into dropping his fish, and then these guys will swoop down and take off with it and be on their way, just because they know it's so much easier for them to steal somebody else's food than it is for them to actually go out and get their own. And so all birds of prey, here at the center we call them energy conservative or energy efficient, and that's basically just a nice way to spare their feelings because they're all very lazy. They'll always take the shortcut and the easiest, less energy consuming path as possible. So even in the wild we tend to romanticize flying. So flying for a bird of prey is not something that they do for fun or for entertainment. It's a lot of work, and they won't do it unless they have to. So the 3 reasons why they'll fly is they have to feed themselves, their offspring, or if they have to migrate. So these guys actually perch about 90% of their life, and especially on a hot day like today, this bird is taking his time at the post. He's not very motivated, and the only thing that is motivating him is the chicken I have in this pouch right here. So they're driven by their bellies. So when he comes back, you guys are going to see that he has bare legs, kind of like a chicken, and it's like he's wearing shorts all year round. And so that's the reason they actually have to migrate, just because if you can imagine being stuck here in southern Alberta and wearing shorts during our very cold months like January, you'd be pretty uncomfortable. And typically all of our bodies of water also freeze over, so these guys have an exceptionally hard time finding food. And they'll migrate along the coast all the way to down to parts of the southern United States and Mexico, which I can't really blame them. I would definitely like to do that during the cold months here in Alberta. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that before. Some of our owls will also stick around there. Yeah, and also the barn owls. But your temperature is a lot more consistent and mild, and the humidity here, we're so dry, our winters feel like you're literally being frozen to the bone. Yeah, I'm sure. I've heard a lot about the snowy owls. Their migration pattern has been pushed down south just because of the global warming and climate change. Their natural hunting grounds are thawing, and so they're going down into parts of Ontario to hunt more, but because of the human foot traffic, that's the reason why we're receiving a lot of snowy owl rescue birds this summer. Awesome. So even during this flight show, this bald eagle is actually taking the easiest pathway possible. So whenever you see them migrating in the wild, you'll see them high up in the sky to the size where they're almost a pinhead, and they're riding wind thermals. So bald eagles are designed with very broad, stiff wings for soaring. So they'll hold their wings out for kilometers without having to flap. They'll just ride wind thermals up, and then down south. And so here at the center, it'd be a lot of work for this bald eagle to fly up high and then come back down to the post or to my hand for food. And it's even too much work for him to fly at eye level. So you can see he's holding his wings open like this. He's kind of airing out his armpits. And he also has his mouth open and his tongue sticking out, so he's panting like a dog. So this is a lot of work for him, and it's only 3 or 4 flights in. And so as he goes and goes and goes, he's going to get more hot, more exhausted, and the slower he's going to take. So instead of flying at eye level, he'll actually fly nice and low to the ground. And you'll see when he flies low to the ground, he doesn't have to flap his wings very often when he's about to land. He'll soar up onto the post. So what he's doing is he's riding a boundary layer. It's a cushion of air that's about 1 foot off the ground that these birds will ride in the wild when they're chasing something, whether that be a nesting duck or something much slower than they are. They'll use it to their advantage when they're after prey. Excellent. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, cool. He hasn't yet. So the reason he was brought into the center is he was only about 1 year old. So it's his first migration trip, and they migrate in groups called kettles. And whenever the juveniles, if it's their first year migrating and they get separated from their group, they won't know where to go, and sometimes they'll get stuck here in southern Alberta like this bird was. And what happened is he was found alongside the highway, so weak and starved he couldn't even get up off the ground to fly, let alone continue a migration, and he was just walking. And so nobody wanted him to get hit by a car, so we took him in, we made him fat, and we started training him for these flight demos just so he gets his exercise in. So our bald eagles are one of the few birds we don't have to worry about getting habituated just because they're such a large and aggressive bird. So whenever I fly him, last summer I always wore a headband to work to cover my ears, because if I look in his direction the wrong way or even glance at the side of my eye, he'll actually take that as very aggressive and dominant behavior, and he'll try to bite me in the face. And so last year, one of our other juvenile bald eagles actually grabbed our boss, Colin, by the ear, and he had to go to the hospital. And he had to explain to the ER why he had to come in twice with half of his earlobe missing, and that a bald eagle ripped it off. Awesome. So I think we're going to have one more after this. Any last questions? I think so. We'll see how hot he is. If not, I'll just stick him in the shade. But this is a good opportunity for me to say thank you to everybody for visiting the facility today. So all your admission fees go straight towards feeding our birds. We are a not-for-profit organization. We don't receive any government subsidies. And we really rely on visitors visiting the center to release our birds. We get about 100 to 200 rescue birds brought to the center every single year. And our goal is to release them all back into the wild. So the birds you're seeing today are our permanent residents. We have about 30 to 40 of them. And each bird has its own story. So don't be afraid to ask any of the staff members if you're curious why he's here. But all the birds that we have on display, they can't survive on their own in the wild for one reason or another, whether that's because they have an amputated wing or they were brought in as orphans and they never learned how to hunt. But the birds that we do receive that we release, they're in the back, and that's just because the least human contact possible, the better the chance the bird has once we release it. And so by visiting the center today, your admission fees are going straight towards feeding them. Without the Lethbridge hatchery, we'd actually spend over $1,000 a day towards feeding our birds. We get a chicken donation that saves us there. And so just a special thanks. If you guys haven't had the opportunity to hold an owl yet, we can have somebody meet you down in the hawk walk. And again, just from the bottom of my heart as a staff member, I really appreciate you guys coming out this summer. And probably the best way you could help us is just if you think this is a pretty cool place, maybe tell your friends and family that they'd like to stop by later this year.
What is he?
Chicken. He likes chicken just like you do. Only he eats his raw.
You're bitey today. Super bitey. Haha. Too much. So at the end of my arm, he feels like he's about 40. He's only about 7.5 pounds.
You want to go see about holding a baby owl? Well, I think we could take turns. Well, that may or may not work out.
Alright, you want to pick up there?